Hello Sumeti, welcome back to my channel. So in this video we'll be learning how to make this shift dress with tassel in front of it and inseam pocket. I'll be showing us how to attach the tassel to the dress, how to attach your pocket, how to draft it, cut it, and the sewing. I'm taking us through the process. So to get started, the zipper you are seeing on the table, please ignore it. We didn't use it. It was not needed. I took it aside. So I'm using 1.5 yard of the crepe fabric, and I'm using 10 pieces of the tassel. Please, if you're bigger than me, 1.5 will not be enough for you. This was barely enough for me, okay? So the first thing I will do is to fold the fabric into 4. So after folding it into 4, I'm going to roll the upper part of the fabric where all my measurements will be starting from. If you're bigger than me, you will know with the measurement I am imputing. So please, if you're bigger than me, get like 2 yards of fabric to be on the safer side. So after rolling the straight line at the top, I will impute my shoulder measurement, which is 7.5. So after marking the shoulder measurement, I will come down by 1.5 of an inch to create my shoulder slope. Then from that 1.5 of an inch, I will mark 8 inches down for my armhole measurement. Then when I add it to the 8 inches plus the 1.5 of an inch, that's 9 inches, 9.5 of an inch in total. I will come down and roll a straight line to create my chest line. So on the chest line now, I marked the 7.5 of an inch, which is my shoulder measurement, and I connected the armhole line. Then I'm using 3.5 of an inch as the neck width. After marking the 3.5 of an inch, I'm going to create my shoulder slope. And after that, the next thing I will do now is to get my waist measurement. Where my waist measurement will be resting on is 15.5. Then on my hip measurement, it is 23.5 for where my hip measurement will be resting on. Then I now marked the full length of the dress. I wanted it to be 38, but 38 was too long and I ended up trimming it. After sewing, I loosened it and I trimmed it. So if you want it as short as mine, you can use 36. That is if we are the same height. So I went ahead to mark the full length of the dress, and after that, I added extra 2 inches for hemming allowance. You will see me rolling it. I added the 2 inches with the ruler because the straight ruler I'm using is 2 inches long. You can see me adding another extra line to it with the ruler. So now we've gotten the bust measurements, the waist, the hip, and the full length of the dress. We need to impute our circumference. So on the chest line, my bust measurement is 10 inches plus 1 inch is allowance and 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, so I now went ahead to divide the armhole line by 2. I came in by half an inch to connect the armhole curve. Now from the front, for the front, I came in by half an inch to connect the armhole curve, which you can see me connecting here. Then for the back, we're just going to connect from the bust measurement straight to the midpoint of the armhole. You're not following the curve. So this one I'm connecting now is for the back. You know, we're cutting the front and back together at the same time. So the next thing I want to do now is to impute the back width. I came down by 1 inch for the depth, the neckline of the back. The depth of the neckline is 1 inch. Then for the front, you can see me curving it. For the front, it is 3.5 of an inch for the front. That's the front neck depth, 3.5 of an inch. Then I will go ahead and connect. So right now, we've connected the neckline and we've connected the armhole for both the front and the back. So we'll go to impute the circumference measurements. So don't forget that on the bust line, we impute our bust measurement, 1 inch for ease allowance, 1 inch for sewing allowance. On the waistline, I will impute my waist measurement, 1 inch for ease allowance, 1 inch for sewing allowance. On the hip line, I will impute my hip measurement, 1 inch for ease allowance and 1 inch for sewing allowance. Take note, 1 inch. If you use more than 1 inch, the dress will be bigger on your body than it is on my body, okay? So whatsoever measurement I have on the hip line is what I'm going to mark on the hem line, which is the full length of the dress. Then I'm going to connect everything together with my ruler. Don't forget, the ease allowance is just 1 inch. So I'll go ahead, connect all the lines together. Then I'll go ahead and cut. Then I'll show us how to cut your facing. We'll be cutting the facing together. We are doing everything together in this video. and we'll be going to the sewing machine together too, so we don't get confused for the newbies among us. So you can see me connecting all the lines. Please take note of my placement, the way I am placing the rollers also. So after that, like I said, I will just go ahead and trim it out. Don't forget we are trimming for the back first. So you can see that the neckline I'm cutting now is not so deep because we are only cutting for the back. And on the shoulder slope, you know the front shoulder slope is deeper than the back shoulder slope. So I came up by half an inch on the shoulder slope side for the back also. So you can see what I'm doing. I'll just go ahead and cut. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for watching. There's no Come Fashion on YouTube without you. I'm really, really very much grateful to all of you. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe to see more detailed videos. Comment, like, and share, and leave a review for me, okay? So now that we've gone ahead to cut, we'll want to cut the front neckline and the front armhole. So you can see that I separated it. So this one that is remaining, I'm just going to go ahead and cut the neckline. You can see that this neckline is deeper. So after cutting it, I will go ahead and cut the shoulder slope also, like I've explained. Then the armhole, the curve for the front armhole, I'm just going to follow it accordingly. So when you're cutting your own, make sure that the fabric is equally placed on each other, okay? Make sure that you arrange it very well. So you can see what I'm doing here, so that I can get the armhole curve for the both side of the armhole equally, like the same thing. No one is bigger than the other one. So after that, now we have to make that front neckline. So I came down by 3.5 of an inch also. 3.5 of an inch, take note. Then I just made a curve. Can you see what I'm doing? I make the curve to the 3.5 of an inch and I went ahead to cut it off. So after cutting it off, now when you spread it, you see this is what it will look like when you spread it for the front pattern. So we are going to be cutting the facing for the front pattern first. No, we'll be cutting the sleeve. So you can see the leftover I have from the fabric. That's what I'm saying. If you're bigger than me, don't use 1.5, okay? So you can see my sleeve pattern. To not waste our time, we're not drafting the sleeve, okay? If you don't know how to draft the perfect sleeve, I'll drop a link of how to draft one in the description box for you, so you can go and see it. So now I just place my sleeve pattern. The fabric is already folded into 4. Place my sleeve pattern on it and I'm cutting, but I'm coming in a bit because this pattern paper, there is no sewing allowance on it. And again, you know, we added extra seam allowance to the dress when we're drafting it on the dress. So that's the extra inches I have here. Then the full length I used here is 12 inches. Please, it is too long. Yours should be about 7 inches if you want it exactly as it is on my body, okay? So I'm just going to, this edge is too sharp, so I'm just going to trim it accordingly. Like I said, your sleeve should not be this long. If not, it's going to get to your elbow. So use like 6 inches or 7 inches is fine. So after trimming it accordingly, the sleeve is ready. The next thing we want to cut now is the facing, okay? So what you do, fold your fabric into 2, bring the front pattern. I brought the front pattern folded into 2 also. Then I'm going to place it on it. So you place it on it according to the depth of the facing you want, okay? So if you want the facing very big, you need a bigger fabric. So you can see me that I'm following the curve from the center of the front, and I'm just following the neckline also. So you make sure that you arrange it very well to get the neckline accurately. So you can see what I'm doing here. So like this now, I've gone ahead to cut the facing, but I'm going to trim the facing according to the shape I want. So I just went ahead to make a little curve so that is not too big, okay? So you can see what I've done here. So when I spread it on it now, you will see exactly what we've done. So you can see that the facing is exactly the neckline of the main dress. I'll take it aside, we'll cut the back facing. The same thing, fold your fabric into two. Okay, so this is the back of the dress. Fold your fabric into two, place the back on top of it, then you just follow the neckline curve and the shoulder slope curve. Then after that, I will bring the front pattern facing on the shoulder part so that it is equal. I don't want a situation when I join them together on the shoulder part, one will be longer than the other. So that's what I did here. Okay, so after that, we've succeeded in cutting both the front and back facing. So we are going to attach the facing to the main dress. You can see me trimming the back facing a little bit, like I'm making a curve on it also. So it depends on how you want it. If you want your square, anyhow you want it, that's how you cut it. So we'll just go ahead and sew it. So we'll be going to the machine together. So we'll be starting with the front facing. This is me pinning the facing to the fabric, and don't forget that when you're pinning it right side facing right side. Okay, so when you sew it, you flip it to the wrong side. Okay, so after pinning it, I'll go ahead and sew it like so. Then we'll now go ahead and sew the back facing also. And after sewing it all round, please note that you are not sewing with more than quarter of an inch. Don't make it too big, so that when you notch it, it is easier for you. Okay, so you can see me notching it here. When sewing, don't take in too much, so that when you notch, it is easier for you to flip it to the other side. So after notching it this way, I'm going to flip the facing to the wrong side because it belongs to the wrong side. You can see what I'm doing here. So we are going to do the same thing to the back facing. We are going to attach it, then we will go ahead and sew it. So you can see how neatly done it is. The next thing I will do is to go ahead and iron it, since I've succeeded in fixing it. So for the back, this is the back, this is me attaching the back, right side facing right side, don't forget. Okay, then you just run a straight stitch. When you're done, go ahead and notch it like we did for the front. Okay, then after notching it, you flip it to the wrong side. Go ahead to your sewing machine and give it a very good press so that the facing is relaxing on the wrong side. So you can see me notching it also. So it's the same thing we did for the front that we're doing here. After notching it, flip it to the wrong side, like I said. Can you see? Then you iron it. So here now I'm gonna head to iron both the front and back. I'm placing the front and back. Can you see it? So I will place it on top each other, but it's right side facing right side. Okay, so I will make sure I turn. You can see me flipping it the other way around. This is the right side of the back. Then I will place the right side of the front on it so that we can join the both sides, I mean the shoulders together, because for us to join the both sides we need to attach a pocket, and I'll be showing us how to cut and sew the pockets also. So now this is what I want to show us here. This is the front and this is the back, and they are facing. So you will spread it open. Spread the back and the facing open, spread the front and the facing open, and place them on each other. You make sure that the seam lines are meeting. Okay, the same line you use in joining the main dress and the facing together, make sure it's meeting. Then you pin it down, pin that part down, the seam line area, so that it doesn't shift. Then you're not going to sew across from the facing to the main dress itself. So you just make a straight stitch. Why I'm doing it like this is because it's going to give me an inseam and a very neat finishing on the shoulder. Okay, that's why we are doing it like this. So what I'm doing here now, I'm going to repeat it to the other side of the shoulder. I'm going to pick the fabric and the facing together on each other. So after sewing it and you flip it, can you see what we have? You can see that it is coming and it is closing the joinings. Can you see what we have? So this is the essence of sewing it this way. So we'll be repeating the same thing for the other side. Spread it open, spread the other side open, bring the facing together. Can you see it? Pin it down, go ahead and run a straight stitch. So once I'm done like this, I'll go to my ironing table and I'll iron them down properly. I would have used my hemming gum to just iron it and press it down, but I want to weave the facing round first before using hemming gum to press it down neatly. Okay, so you can see me here that's what I'm doing. After sewing it now, we will now go to the table to attach the pocket to it. So when you flip it to the other side, it's still the same neat finishing it will give you. So here now I've gone ahead to iron it and this is the pocket. I simply just place my hand on the fabric to cut it round. The width is 6 inches and the depth is 9 inches. Okay, that's it. And it's 2 because you need 2 pieces for each pocket. I have a detailed video on how to make an inseam pocket on my channel in case this one is not detailed enough. So at the edge of it, mark ½ inch away. I will do the same thing to the other side. Now it is from the ½ inch that you've marked now that you will sew round to the other ½ inch, sew round to the other ½ inch. Then you leave it. I'll do that. Now I have done that. Don't forget, from the ½ inch I started sewing, you now fold it in. Fold the ½ inch in on both sides. Then go ahead and give it a good press. I'll do that and come back. So here now you can see I've gone ahead to fold it and I've given it a very nice press. So now I want to attach it to the dress itself. So I will put the pocket aside. So what you do, you know that when we were drafting on the dress, we used 1 inch for seam allowance, 1 inch for seam allowance. So I'm going to arrange the dress properly, make sure that it is laying on each other equally. So when you want to attach your pocket from the waistline, you come down by 2 inches. Take note, 2 inches from the waistline. So from that 2 inches now, that's where your pocket placement will start. You know we used 1 inch for seam allowance. So from the waistline, mark the 1 inch all the way to the upper part, like so. So after marking the 1 inch for seam allowance, go ahead and bring you one of the pockets. So now you're going to place, you see the ironing parts that we did, that's what you will place on it. Don't forget that it is 1 inch on the main dress. So what I'll do now, I'm going to mark the 1 inch on the parts the pocket will start from. I will mark the 1 inch for seam allowance there, so that this ½ inch I've ironed on top the pocket, the placement will start from there. So I'm placing this pocket now on the 1 inch of the seam allowance for the main dress. So I'm going to carry my pin now and I'll pin it down. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm pinning the pocket to the dress, but I'm making sure that I'm pinning it to the 1 inch seam allowance. So you can see me marking the 1 inch on this other side too, to pin the other side of the pocket. Why you're pinning it to that 1 inch seam allowance is because when you are joining the sides together, is the 1 inch you will use. So if you use more than that or you use lesser than that, the pocket will not align to the main seam of the dress. Do you understand? So on the other side, we're doing the same thing. Mark 1 inch. Then you place the pocket on that 1 inch that you've marked now. You know the pocket is now 2 that we join together. So this is the other side now. I'm pinning to this other side of the dress too. I hope you're not getting confused. So after pinning it to it now, I'll go ahead and pin the other side also. It's just the same way. So you make sure that, let's say you use half an inch for seam allowance, you will mark half an inch. If you use 1.5 of an inch for seam allowance, you mark 1.5 of an inch and pin your pocket to that 1.5 of an inch that you mark, okay? So it's as simple as that. So now after pinning it to it, what I will do now, go ahead and attach the pocket to the dress and come back to us. So you can see what we have here like this. Can you see? So the pocket now, we've attached it with pin, but we need to go and sew it down with the sewing machine. So when you arrange it properly, you can see that it is equal on both sides. So I'll go ahead and run a straight stitch like this. Run a straight stitch on the other side too and come back. So here I've gone ahead to attach the pocket to it. Can you see how neatly done it is on both sides? So the next thing you want to do now is to join the sides of the dress together. You know it's 1 inch. Go ahead and join with the 1 inch straight to the chest line and straight to the lower part of the dress. So here I've gone ahead to join it, and this is what we have. So if I want to flip the dress to the right side now, this is what it will look like on the right side. Can you see that we've created our pocket? The pocket is ready. Very easy to make. So I will repeat the same thing to the other side of the dress off camera, okay? So after that, I've done that to the other side of the dress. We need to hem it. You know, when we're drafting, I added 2 inches for hemming allowance, which is the folding of the lower part. Make sure you don't fold more than the 2 inches, okay? So I just went ahead to fold the 2 inches all round, and I sew it round it. So after sewing it round it, now we are done with hemming the lower part of the dress. So the next thing you want to do is to attach the sleeve. So the first thing you will do is to hem the lower part of the sleeve, to fold it together. So I'll just go ahead and fold it. Then after folding it, this is what we have. The next thing now, you fold the sleeve into two. Fold it into two on the right side, okay? You're folding it on the right side. Then you're folding it right side facing right side. Bring your gown. Now to attach the sleeve, this is what you do. You bring your gown, measure the armhole round. You make sure that you've joined, even if it's a top you're making, make sure you've joined it together before fixing your sleeve, okay? So whatever measurements you got from measuring the armhole round, come and place it on the sleeve. Then when it ends, you just mark it. So now on the lower part of the sleeve, now you're going to impute your arm measurement. So mine is 6. I will mark 6 inches there. Then I will connect the 6 inches to the other parts that we marked earlier. Then I'm going to run a straight stitch. Don't forget that we're sewing on the wrong side of the sleeve, okay? So after sewing it this way, the next thing you want to do is to flip the sleeve to the right side. Okay, so I'll go ahead and flip it to the right side, and this is what we have. So right now we're going to attach it to the dress. So here now I'm flipping the dress to the wrong side. Take note. So now you now pick the sleeve, you are putting it, you now shook it inside the armhole of the dress. You can see the armhole, then you see the joining part of the sleeve. It is going to rest on the joining parts of the dress. So you pin the both joining parts together, the part you use in joining the side of the dress. Now you pin it together, then you go ahead and run it round it. Now this sleeve is going to go round the armhole. Why? Because we measured it before joining it. So I'm just going ahead to sew the sleeve round the armhole of the dress, and by the time I'm done sewing it round, I'm going to pull it off. Then I'll flip it to the right side for us to see what we have done. I hope we are not confused at this part. If you at this point, if you have any question, please you can ask, okay? And please just leave a review for me, okay? So you can see that I've sewn it round. I've attached the sleeve to the armhole, and this is what we have. I'll repeat the same thing to the other side, then we'll go and fix the tassel. So here now, here is the tassel with me. Now we've completely sewed the dress. The next part is to fix this tassel, and I have my needle and thread. So you pass your needle and thread from the inside. You would have marked the points you will be attaching the tassel to, okay? So you sew it like this. You know the tassel has an opening in between. It is the opening I'm passing the needle through. Can you see? And you will make sure that it is relaxing very well when you're sewing it. So you have to be careful so that it will relax very well. You can see what I'm doing. So I'm going to be showing us how to do it with like two of it. Then I'll go ahead and do the rest off camera to save our time. It is not difficult at all to do. Then after that, you go ahead and tie it. You tie it on the inside. Why are you tying it on the inside? So that the outside of the this thing is neat, because you don't want thread hanging on the outside. Okay, so you do the tying on the inside. So we've attached number one. Now I've marked some points that I'm attaching the tassel to, and there are 9 points in total. So you mark before you start attaching, so you know the placements you are doing. Okay, so we're attaching the second one to this side, and I pass my needle from the inside, put the tassel on it, and pass my needle back. So it's just the same way. You can decide to tack it like 3 times or more, depends on the one you think will hold it down together. Okay, so this is what I will continue to do until I'm done attaching all of the tassel. And again, we have tassel on the sleeve area too, so I'll be showing us the placement, how I place the one on the sleeve part also, so that we can get the right placement. So you can see how neatly done it is here. So I'm going to cut and I will tie it together. So now the sleeve part, on the sleeve side, now you are placing the tassel at the midpoint of the sleeve, but you are going in with about 1 inch. Can you see where my hand is? You're going in with about 1 inch, but it's going to be at the center of the sleeve. Okay, the center of your shoulder line. Then you just tack it the same way we tack the rest. You can see the rest that I've tacked here, how they are relaxing very well. It is very, very easy to make. Okay, so after tacking it, I'll go ahead and tie it like we did for the other side, and we are totally done with this video. If this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up, comment, like and share for other people to see. Please like and share. So this is the full outcome of the tassel. You can see how beautiful it is, and this is the outcome on my body. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and see you in my next video. Bye.